Namaste everyone, I'm your co-host Shravani ma'am. Welcome to your favorite learning channel. The topic for today's video is types of blood vessels and difference between arteries, veins and capillaries. So first let's begin with the blood vessels. So what are these blood vessels? We know that blood in our bodies flows through the blood vessels. So how can we define these blood vessels? So blood vessels are tube-like structures, we can say. They are tube-like structures that carry blood. Okay. So they branch out from the heart. They branch out. They branch out from where? From heart. Okay. To different parts. To different parts of the body. Okay. So blood vessels are tube-like structures. They help in carrying of the blood and they branch out from the heart to different parts of the body. So these blood vessels are of three types. They are of three types. And what are these types? One is the arteries, then the veins and the capillaries. So these are the three types of blood vessels. Okay. So let's now study about each one of them. So first let's study about the arteries. So what are these arteries? So arteries are a type of blood vessels which have thick walls. They are thick walled. Okay, so they are thick walled blood vessels that carry oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood from the heart to different parts of the body. To different parts of the body. Okay, so these are called arteries that have they are thick walled blood vessels which carry oxygenated blood, that is pure blood from the heart to different parts of the body. But then there is an exception. The exceptional case is that the pulmonary artery. Okay, so these pulmonary arteries, they are an exception. Why are we calling them an exception? Because they carry deoxygenated blood. Okay, so here they are carrying deoxygenated blood, whereas all the arteries are carrying oxygenated, that is oxygen rich blood, except for pulmonary artery which is carrying deoxygenated, that is carbon dioxide rich blood is being carried by pulmonary artery. So this is an exceptional case in case of arteries. Okay, so next let's talk about the veins. So veins are thin walled blood vessels. They are thin walled, okay, they are thin walled blood vessels that carry, these blood vessels carry deoxygenated, they carry deoxygenated blood or impure blood from different parts of the body. From different parts of the body back to the heart. Back to the heart. Now, in case of veins as well, there is a case of exception. So, the exception is pulmonary veins. They are an exception. Why are they exception? Because pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood. They carry oxygenated blood. Okay, so where all the veins are carrying deoxygenated blood, that is carbon dioxide rich blood from different parts of the body back to the heart, the pulmonary veins are carrying oxygenated blood. Hence, pulmonary veins are an exception in case of veins. Okay, then let's talk about the capillaries. Capillaries are also blood vessels. They are fine blood vessels. They are fine blood vessels, okay, that connect. What do? They connect arteries and veins. Okay, so capillaries help in connecting arteries and veins. So they arise from the arteries and they carry oxygenated blood, food, hormones to different parts of the body like tissues, organs, and different cells. And then from these various parts of the body, they also carry the deoxygenated blood, okay, to the veins. So they are connecting the arteries and veins. They are fine blood vessels. Okay. So now let's discuss the difference between these three types of blood vessels, that is arteries, veins and capillaries. So the first parameter here we would consider is the direction of transport. Direction of transport. So in case of arteries, they carry blood away from the heart. They carry blood away from the heart. Whereas what do veins do? They carry blood towards the heart. Towards the heart. And in case of capillaries, capillaries carry blood. They carry blood from arteries. They carry blood from arteries to veins. Okay. So these are the different direction of transport we can find in case of different types of blood vessels. Okay. So the next parameter we would consider is type of blood. Type of blood that is being carried. So the arteries mostly carry oxygenated blood, but the exception is pulmonary artery, because we already studied that pulmonary artery, they carry deoxygenated blood. So next let's see what is the case of veins. So mostly veins carry deoxygenated They carry deoxygenated blood, but here also there is an exception, and the exception is pulmonary vein, because pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood. So in case of capillaries, what happen? They carry oxygenated as well as deoxygenated. They carry oxygenated as well as deoxygenated blood. Okay. So the next parameter would be the type of walls that they have. So arteries have thick walls, veins have thin walls, whereas capillaries have the thickness of one cell, that is, their walls have the thickness of one cell. Then the fourth parameter we would consider is valves. So valves are absent in case of arteries, they are present in case of veins, and they are again absent in case of capillaries. Okay. So now let's revise everything that we have studied today. So we saw that blood vessels actually help in carrying of blood. So their structure is tube-like. We can say that they have a tube-like structure that help in carrying the blood. So these blood vessels, they branch out from heart to different parts of our body. So they are of three types, that is, blood vessels are of three types, that is, arteries, veins and capillaries. Okay. So here we can see an image of artery. They are having thick outer wall, a small lumen is present, and thick media, that is, there is smooth muscles present in case of arteries. Then in case of vein, we can see that their outer wall is thin, they have a large lumen, whereas in case of artery we saw the lumen was small, and veins have thin media, whereas arteries have thick media. Then there is an image of capillary as well. Capillaries, we can see that lumen is very small, and the wall of the capillary is a single layer of cells. Okay. So we saw that arteries are thick walled. You already saw in diagram as well. And these arteries carry oxygenated blood, and this oxygenated blood is carried from heart to different parts of the body. But then there is an exception, that is pulmonary arteries, because pulmonary arteries are exception because they carry deoxygenated blood, unlike all the arteries which carry oxygenated blood. Then we talked about veins. We saw in diagram as well that they have thin outer wall, so they have thin wall and they carry deoxygenated blood, and this deoxygenated blood can also be called impure blood, that is rich in carbon dioxide, and this blood is carried from different parts of the body back to the heart. But here as well there is an exception, and the exception is pulmonary veins, because they carry oxygenated blood, which means the blood that is rich in oxygen is being carried by pulmonary veins, whereas all other veins carry deoxygenated blood. Then we also talked about capillaries. So these capillaries are fine blood vessels, and these capillaries connect the arteries and the veins. Okay. So the wall of capillary is a single layer of cells. Their thickness is like a single layer of cells. Okay. Then we discuss the difference between the arteries, veins and capillaries. So first parameter that we considered was the direction of transport. So in case of arteries, they carry blood away from the heart, whereas veins carry blood towards the heart and capillaries carry blood from arteries to veins. Then the type of blood that is carried by these blood vessels are: most of the arteries carry oxygenated blood except for pulmonary artery, which carries deoxygenated blood. Then most of the veins, they carry deoxygenated blood, but the exception is pulmonary vein, which carry oxygenated blood. And capillaries carry both oxygenated as well as deoxygenated blood. Okay. Then we saw the type of walls that they have. So arteries have thick walls, veins have thinner walls, whereas the thickness of walls in case of capillary is of one cell. Okay, so their walls have thickness of one cell. Next parameter we considered was valves. So valves were absent in case of arteries, whereas they are present in case of veins, and again they are absent in case of capillaries. So I hope you all would have got some great insights by watching today's video. Please do not forget to like and share the video. Till then, thank you for watching.